Ladies and gentlemen, tonight's episode is brought to you from a man with a heavy heart for his country. Welcome to Convicted Patriot Broadcast, your source for real information with no punches held and no apologies issued. And my name is Christian Russ, and today I want us all to pray for our country and the direction we are headed. See, my generation, we're forever scarred by the Middle Eastern wars of the early 2000s, sacrificed so many souls and lasted for decades. And in the end, the whole point why it began in the first place, well, it was we fucking forgot because we were played. And see, it's so disgustingly obvious now, but now that we have seen it, we can't unsee it. And I have several fans that speak with me directly, and they are so upset with their younger selves still for going along and signing up to fight for a lie. So many lies, in fact, that if you ask 10 veterans from the War on Terror right now why they think they were really deployed and what they were supposed to do, you'll more than likely get different answers from at least 9 of them. I say this all the time. I'm a conservative, but not a Republican. And even so, I really backed the whole Trump administration this go around, and I can't be more disappointed now. And I know, there are some of you out there that's just sitting here thinking that everything that happens with Trump and his administration is super planned out and 4D chess and all that. They call that being white-pilled, okay? And that's silly. From Kash Patel to Dan Bongino to Pam Bondi and to Howard Lutnick to Donald Trump himself, I'm disgusted with this administration right now. You told me, you told my wife, you told my family, all my friends, everybody that supported you, no more new war. And that Venezuela shit was sketchy, I admit, but I totally get the angle with the need to brace this country from failing and falling too hard when our economy collapses. Our money is no longer the Federal Reserve currency. That's coming. But this whole Iran move, I mean, I've done many episodes on Israel, okay? I honestly don't think that I have the energy to continue to cover all the absolute God-smackingly terrible things that has been going on while hiding behind the Jewish faith. From the six-pointed star, never being mentioned in the Bible for David or Jewish people, but it was mentioned in Acts 7:43 when Moses spazzed. He came down from Mount Sinai, told everybody, here's the 10 commandments I got from God. He looks, and they have taken off all of their gold, the Israelites, that is, and they've made a giant calf. They were worshiping Baal, sacrificing children to it. And I mean, can you imagine at this point in time, the Israelites, once freed from Egypt, not only did they see the Red Sea parted, did they walk through it, but they escaped captivity due to miracles rained down from the heavens by God through Moses. They seen it with their eyes, and yet they chose to worship a deity. And of course, we all know how that goes, but it does say in Acts 7:43, when referencing the worship of Baal and worship of this star they had up, that it was they have picked up the tabernacle of their god Moloch and the star of their false idol. Ladies and gentlemen, the 6-point star is a demonic star, and it's never once mentioned in the Bible. Then we can go to the simple fact that there is no such thing as Judeo-Christian anything. They don't believe in Jesus or the Trinity, and they actually have 3 messiahs, 2 that show up every generation, the Yosef and the David, to help Israel, they say. And the final one is going to be what they call a sacred serpent. As far as Jesus Christ goes, in the Talmud, the book Gittin, chapter and verse 57a, it says that he is forever boiling in excrement in hell for his doings on earth. So you see, if you're a Christian and you thought that they believed in your God, well, then wake up. The Jewish people collectively are not to blame for the actions of a corrupt secular government. They don't even let you have DNA testing in their country, probably because if you knew that they weren't Jewish, you would think that you would have to back them at all costs. See, you need to look into the statute of return. It's called practicing or going through the process of Aliyah, where you can convert. You convert to Judaism, then you move to Israel. It's been happening since 1952. So the whole seed of Abraham thing has kind of been watered down at this point because these people have been coming in from all around the world, and now we're in positions of leadership. They're secular, and they are running this country, and because Christians think that you have to stand behind Jews with everything, even though these people aren't real Jews, they just live in Israel, and they're running Israel, they back it anyway. See, we are considered goyim to them, which means cattle, and even in the last dump of Epstein files, I can show you exactly how the elites into the Jewish community at least think of us. Just like I said, cattle. That being said, and you're going to have to give me a second because this is my first time doing this. But I would like to show you in depth a little more on this before we continue. And yes, it's going to work its way into Iran today. Just give me a second. Calm down. 1 second. 2 seconds. Okay. This is from the Sean Ryan show. It's a clip. And I think it says a lot.
Who do you think we're occupied by?
AIPAC. We send $18 billion a year to Israel. Why? And what do we get out of it?
Nothing.
We get nothing. Are we doing humanitarian work? No, they're charged with genocide. They're killing off Palestinians. Are we helping them survive? Well, they've got a higher standard of living than we do, a longer lifespan than we do, free education, free housing, free health care, but we're sending them money. Why? Ask yourself why a U.S. congressman can wear an Israeli military uniform in congressional chambers. I would think that would be an act of treason. Ask why the Israeli prime minister can bypass the president, fly directly in and speak to our Congress without any other government interaction. Our Congress gave Netanyahu, a foreign prime minister, 26 standing ovations. I have difficulty looking at that any other way than we're occupied. Statistically speaking, we have shown that whoever spends the more money on an election wins 94% of the time. Whoever spent the most wins. We can also show that every time somebody spoke out against Israel or AIPAC, the next election, their challenger was highly funded and wins. The facts are all there. All you have to do is look at them. Whenever we try to talk about it, you get told, well, that's anti-Semitic. No, it's not. Calling things the way they are is not anti-Semitic.
So you see, it is indeed America last, and we can clearly fact check anything that I just showed you, and you will find out that I like to keep it real. Anyway, Netanyahu has been trying to lobby U.S. Congress to go to war with Iran for a very, very long time, assuring us that they almost had nuclear bombs and any seconds now they were going to use them. Well, let's take a look at that.
Iran will be capable of producing alone, without importing anything, nuclear bombs within 3 to 5 decades.
Ladies and gentlemen, time is running out.
Bomb. Iran is gearing up to produce 25 bombs, atomic bombs a year, 250 bombs in a day.
They're very close. They're 6 months away from being about 90% of having the enriched uranium for an atom to do it.
Iran is so dangerous. Weeks away from having the fissile material for an entire arsenal of nuclear bombs.
They have the wherewithal, the stored up, preserved knowledge to make a bomb very quickly if they wanted.
If not stopped, Iran could produce a nuclear weapon in a very short time. It could be a year, it could be within a few months.
Iran will.
Okay, then. Well, so you see, the fact is, Trump swore to us. And, I mean, we could show you that, too, because he was super adamant about that strike where they hit the nuclear program. I mean, just what, like 8 months ago, 9 months ago? Truth after truth and press conference after press conference, he screamed that our military was awesome and did a phenomenal job, mission complete. Yet here we are, going back in for nukes. Right. Well, let's see what happened when Iran decided, to answer back a little bit on that.
Opa, شو
One more time.
Opa, شو
So, now let me give you the context. This is what happened for anybody that is just not paid attention this weekend while the world falls apart around you. Saturday night, March 1st, 2026. I was one of those this weekend, by the way. The United States and Israel launched a joint attack that hit over 2,000 targets in Iran, including ballistic missile sites, nuclear facilities, and military bases, using B-2 bombers and F-35 fighter jets. The Ayatollah, Ali Khamenei, was killed. and along with a dozen of his top commanders. America and Israel called this epic fury, and Iran called it a total decapitation. They're vowing, though, that they would definitely get their revenge, and Iran obviously fired back. Hundreds of missiles and drones starting late Saturday and ramping up early into Sunday, continuing now as we speak. They targeted a U.S. base in Bahrain, Qatar, the UAE, Kuwait, and even Jordan. 3 American troops have been killed, 5 wounded, and you already have wackos on the right, like Laura Loomer praising their blood sacrifice. Israel's hammers also, and I can show you, I already did show you, Tel Aviv. Jerusalem suburbs were hit, buildings collapsed, and rescue crews are already being assembled to go out and try to find somebody. See, the Gulf shipping is also threatened, and I told my wife this forever ago. Once again, check mark on me. Gas prices are going to shoot through the roof. We've already rose 13%. You have to understand the Strait of Hormuz is a big fucking deal with this oil thing. And Iran runs it, and Iran can block it, and that's going to jack everything off, just like they threatened to do with the 12-day war. And we had to get the hell up out of there real quick, and Trump had to end that because oil was about to skyrocket. Well, while the United States homeland hasn't been hit yet, best believe Department of Homeland Security and the FBI are on high alert. As we all know, what the last administration allowed to literally Tim Walz into our country. I had to say that. Tim Walz had nothing to do with that, actually. It was Biden and Harris, but it just sounded good. And it wasn't just Hispanics, as many people incorrectly like to think. Plenty of Islamic terrorists. Sarah Adams, who was a former CIA operative, said that around 1,500 Al-Qaeda alone were for sure here, and that was back in 2023. Ladies and gentlemen, please, remember, when you are dealing with radicals of any kind, they are willing to die behind their beliefs. And I'm talking about from kamikaze pilots in World War II from Japan to Islamic radicals that blow themselves up to Renee Good trying to run over an ICE agent to the few assholes that cause racial tension in this country and are part of extremist groups, hiccups, that preach hate. It's all massive dedication to the movements that they are a part of. And now that the supreme leader is dead and the United States had something to do with that, best believe we will see more domestic terrorist attacks like we already have earlier today in Austin, Texas. Read up on that. Pretty sad. Guy that was a sympathizer with Iran. He was actually legal, though, and he was from Senegal. But whatever, you know how that goes. Now, since many polls show that only 1 in 5 Americans are behind this shit, let me tell you what I see going on here. And this is the moment we've all been waiting for my prediction, because I'm always right. Just kidding. But I'm not perfect, and I'm not all-knowing, but I have a damn smoking track record. So hear me out. Israel's got to get a few countries out the way to get their way, as far as ruling the entire Middle East and being able to support themselves without any pushback from the country signing the checks. And they have dying support at a rapid pace in the United States. They won't be with the United States, obviously, because we push back. See, they still had the youth when Charlie was still on their side, but we all know what happened there. As a matter of fact, now that we say that, what did Charlie have to say about this?
Yeah, you're going to have to earn our trust on this one. This is more Israel pushing for Iran, but is that America's problem? That's a question. I mean, maybe the answer is yes. Maybe the answer is, you know what? They were wrong about Iraq. They were wrong about Syria. They were wrong about Afghanistan. They were wrong about the Taliban. They were wrong about Libya. They were wrong about the Arab Spring. They were wrong about Yemen. They were wrong about the Arabian Peninsula. They were wrong about the 9/11 hijackers being Saudi Arabian. But hey, 10th time's a charm. This time we're actually right. Yeah, you're going to have to earn our trust on this one.
See, but by getting Iran out of the way as a coherent country and sweep them aside as a regional rival, well, they have to do that because, see, that way there's no question at all who runs the shit in that area of the world. All the Gulf states, or better known as the GCC states, or countries, are like Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar, Kuwait, Bahrain, and Oman, I believe, are also seen as rivals to Israel. But by Israel, and they They're seen two rivals of Israel by Israel, and they stand in the way of Israel's regional hegemony. See, they're super rich. They produce that stuff, that the rest of the world really needs, the oil thing, and they have very good skills at diplomacy. They pretty much position themselves as the Swiss of the Middle East. And then, of course, you have the old good US of A. The biggest backer, and technically daddy, of Israel, as I have shown you earlier. And since they are losing their footing here and the mask is falling down, the best way to get the US to lose its spot and power is by starting this war, letting it drag out like the last ones did for decades. Our munitions are already reportedly so low that we can only last on the ground about 3 to 4 weeks as it is until we're depleted. Look it up. Headline after headline. Dan Raisin Kane even admitted this and tried to talk Trump around this. But being that we sent everything we had to Ukraine and Israel the last 5 years, we're running very low. And it would said that it would take approximately 10 years before our munitions would be able to stand a chance against a war of our peers. Like anybody that would actually stand a chance in hell, like China, Russia, anybody that big with a big military. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you tonight for tuning in. And I hope I was able to shed a light on you at least a little bit. I want you to see what's going on, what's really going on. Thank you for tuning in. And remember to think for yourself. Oh yeah, I couldn't leave without this. And I don't really agree with this guy. He calls himself the older millennial. And he is one of those guys that completely and totally 100% backs Trump no matter what.
Posts like this show that the leftists are all about the views and not talking about what actually happened. Because Isaiah Martin here, the content creator turned failed politician back to being a content creator, he said if Obama did this, they'd be demanding impeachment. Community Notes just informed him that Obama did this and more. He did it in Libya, Pakistan, Yemen, Somalia, Iraq, and Syria. In all those instances, he bombed the shit out of foreign countries, never declared war, never got congressional approval. Oh, and how did the Democrats feel about it back then? I commend the President of the United States for his leadership. Gaddafi's horrific brutality against his own people will not be tolerated and must stop. #Libya. Just to be clear, Democrats, if a leader is horrific to his own people, you support bombing the shit out of them. You support regime change. That's what Nancy told us. That's what Obama told us. Okay, cool. Iranian's government was awful to its people, murdered more than 30,000 of them. Trump's response was to just do a fraction of what Obama did.